In a quiet valley, far from the noisy bustle of cities, lay a small village called Eldermore. This village was unlike any other, wrapped in mist, surrounded by towering pines, and bathed in the soft glow of moonlight each night. The people of Eldermore lived peacefully, their days filled with tending gardens and weaving tales by the fireside. But what made this village truly special was the secret whispered by the wind and carried by the trees. A vampire named Lucian lived among them, though no one feared him. Lucian was not like the dark legends told in fearful stories. His eyes held a quiet sadness, and his voice, when he spoke, was soft and gentle like the rustle of leaves. He had wandered the earth for centuries, seeking solace in the calm nights, never harming a living soul. Instead, he protected the village from dangers unseen and told bedtime stories to the children who sometimes dared to visit him beneath the silver light of the moon. One cool evening, as the rain began to patter gently on the rooftops, Lucian sat on the wooden bench outside the old chapel at the village's edge. The rain made tiny rivers in the dusty paths, and the scent of wet pine filled the air. His long, dark cloak wrapped snugly around him as he gazed up at the sky, where clouds floated like soft blankets across the stars. A small figure approached. It was Mira, a curious girl with eyes wide as the night sky and a heart full of wonder. She carried a lantern, its flame flickering gently in the damp air. "Good evening, Lucian," she whispered, her voice barely louder than the rain. Lucian smiled, a rare and tender expression. "Good evening, Mira. The rain sings tonight, doesn't it?" Mira nodded, settling beside him on the bench. "I like the rain. It's peaceful." Lucian's gaze softened as he looked at her. "Peace is a treasure in these times. Tell me, have you heard the story of the Moonlight Promise?" Mira shook her head, eyes sparkling with anticipation. "No, please tell me." Lucian's voice dropped to a soothing murmur, as if weaving magic into the air itself. Long ago, before Eldermore was even a village, the moon made a promise to the earth. It vowed to watch over those who walk beneath its glow, to guard their dreams and soothe their fears. And so, the moon's gentle light would guide those lost in darkness, much like it guides us now. Myra's eyes fluttered sleepily, the warmth of Lucian's words wrapping around her like a soft blanket. "Will you tell me more tomorrow?" "I will," Lucian promised, his voice calm and steady. As Mira left with a sleepy smile, Lucian turned his gaze back to the sky. The rain continued its lullaby, the village settling deeper into dreams. And under the moon's watchful eye, a gentle vampire kept his silent promise, to protect, to soothe, and to tell stories that carried souls into peaceful sleep. The next evening, the rain had stopped, leaving behind a world that smelled fresh and clean, with droplets clinging to every leaf and blade of grass. The moon hung low and bright in the sky, casting silvery light across Eldermore. Lucian waited again by the chapel, the soft gravel crunching under his boots as he paced slowly. Mira appeared, her lantern now dimmer, her steps quieter. "You kept your promise," she said with a yawn, settling beside him. Lucian smiled gently. "Every promise is a seed. It grows stronger with care." He took a deep breath, his eyes reflecting the moonlight. "Tonight, I will tell you about the first vampire who walked the earth, not with hunger or malice, but with a heart full of kindness." Myra's eyes grew wide. "A kind vampire? Is that possible?" Lucian chuckled softly. "Yes, it is. His name was Oleron. He lived centuries ago, before Eldermore was more than a dream in the minds of dreamers. Oleron was not like the ones in fearful tales. He sought to bring comfort to lonely souls and protect the night's gentle peace. The village was silent except for the occasional rustling of leaves in the breeze and the distant call of an owl. Lucian's voice was steady and slow, weaving a tapestry of words that floated through the cool night air. Oleron's gift was storytelling. He found that words could heal and calm the restless mind. Under the moon's watch, he would visit travelers and villagers alike, sharing stories that soothed the heart and eased the burden of fear. Mira listened closely, her eyelids growing heavier with each word. Did he ever get lonely? She whispered. Lucian looked at the stars and nodded. Very much so. But he found that in sharing stories, he never truly was alone. Each tale was a thread that connected him to others, even across time. He reached into his cloak and pulled out a small, leather-bound book, worn with age. This was Oleron's book of stories. Every night, he added new tales to it, stories of hope, dreams, and gentle magic. It is said that anyone who reads from this book will find peace in their heart. Myra's hand reached out to touch the book's cover, the texture smooth yet cracked with years of loving use. May I read some? Lucian smiled warmly. Of course. And if you wish, one day you might add your own story to it. Myra's voice dropped to a whisper as she opened the book, the pages turning with a soft crackle. She began to read aloud, her tone calm and soothing, blending with Lucian's gentle presence. As the night deepened, the story inside the book flowed like a gentle river, calm, endless, and peaceful, carrying Myra and Lucian into a shared dream of moonlit nights, soft whispers, and endless comfort. The days passed slowly in Eldermore, each one wrapped in soft light and gentle breezes. Lucian and Myra met beneath the moon many nights in a row, sharing stories from Oleron's book and weaving new tales together. The village grew quieter at night, as if the moon itself was cradling the people in a tender embrace. One evening, as the air turned crisp with the coming of autumn, Myra arrived with a curious sparkle in her eyes. Lucian, have you ever wondered what lies beyond the forest? Beyond the valley where the moonlight fades? Lucian looked at the dark horizon, where the trees stood tall like silent guardians. I have. But I have chosen this place, for it is where I found peace. The unknown can be both beautiful and dangerous. Myra shivered slightly, pulling her shawl tighter. What if someone else is out there, someone who needs your stories? Lucian's gaze softened. Then I suppose it is time to share the moonlight promise beyond Eldermore. The night stretched wide and still, and the stars blinked softly like distant lanterns. They walked together toward the edge of the village, where the trees whispered secrets in the wind. Suddenly, a faint sound floated on the breeze, a soft cry, delicate as a moth's wing. Myra stopped and listened closely. Did you hear that? She whispered. Lucian nodded, his senses sharpening in the night air. Yes. Someone calls for comfort. Let us see. They followed the sound carefully, stepping over roots and moss. Deeper into the forest they went, where shadows danced with silver light. There, nestled beneath an ancient oak, lay a young woman, her cloak torn and her eyes filled with tears. Lucian knelt beside her, his voice calm and warm. You are safe here. Tell us your name, and why you wander alone beneath the moon. The woman looked up, startled but relieved. I am Alara. I've lost my way, and the night frightens me. Myra smiled gently, holding out her lantern. You're not alone anymore. Lucian helped Alara to her feet, and together, the three of them walked back toward the village, the moonlight promise stretching farther than ever before, a promise to guide and soothe every lost soul who sought refuge beneath the stars. Back in Eldermore, the village seemed to breathe softly in the moonlight, as if welcoming a new chapter in its quiet history. Lucian, Myra, and Alara walked slowly through the streets, the lantern's glow casting warm patches of light on the cobblestones. Alara's steps were hesitant but steady, and with each one, the fear in her eyes softened. I never imagined a vampire could be so kind, she said quietly, her voice barely more than a breeze. Lucian smiled gently. Kindness is the truest magic there is. It can soften the hardest night and light the darkest path. Myra looked up at Lucian, her eyes bright. Will you tell Alara the moonlight promise story, too? Lucian nodded. Of course. Everyone who finds their way here deserves to hear it. That night, under the vast sky painted with stars, the three of them sat by the old chapel once again. Lucian's voice flowed calm and steady, weaving the moonlight promise into a lullaby for their tired hearts. Alara listened, her breathing slowing, her eyelids heavy. She felt a warmth spread through her, like the gentle touch of moonbeams on cool skin. I think I'm ready to rest now. Mira smiled, her own eyes already closing. Me too. Lucian watched them with quiet affection. The promise he had carried for centuries now felt more alive than ever. This was more than a story, it was a gift, a thread connecting all who sought peace in the night. The village settled into a deep, gentle silence. Rain began to fall once more, soft and steady, a natural lullaby to carry dreams through the night. Lucian whispered softly, "Sleep well, dear friends. The moon will watch over you." And with that, the gentle vampire closed his eyes, his heart full of hope, as the rain's rhythm lulled the world into restful slumber. The days in Eldermore grew shorter as autumn deepened, with golden leaves drifting slowly from the trees like whispers of forgotten times. The village seemed wrapped in a quiet stillness, a calm before the long winter's sleep. Lucian found himself wandering near the old chapel more often, his mind tracing the stories of Aleron and the countless nights spent weaving comfort through words. The leather-bound book lay safely by his side, its pages rich with centuries of gentle tales. One afternoon, as a pale sun filtered through the clouds, a soft knock echoed at the chapel door. Lucian opened it to find an elderly man standing there, his eyes shimmering with age and a strange, familiar warmth. "Good evening," the man said with a tired smile. "My name is Rowan. I've heard whispers of a storyteller who carries the moonlight promise." Lucian's interest peaked. "You've come a long way, Rowan. What brings you here?" Rowan stepped inside, removing a worn hat. "I once knew Aleron. He was a friend and a guardian of many. Before the shadows took him away, he entrusted me with a secret, a story that has never been told." Lucian motioned for him to sit. "Please, share it with me." The old man's voice dropped to a hushed murmur, weaving through the quiet chapel like a gentle wind. Aleron's first gift to the world was not a story, but a promise, that no soul wandering in darkness would ever be left alone. He created the moonlight promise to bind the hearts of the lost and the lonely, so they could find peace no matter how far from home they were. Mira, who had joined them quietly, listened intently. "But how do we keep that promise alive?" Rowan's eyes twinkled. "By sharing it. By letting the stories grow like the roots of an ancient tree, deep and strong. Each new tale you add is a leaf on that tree, catching the light for others to see." Lucian nodded thoughtfully. "Then we must write a new story tonight, one that carries this promise forward." As twilight settled, the three of them gathered by candlelight, their voices blending with the soft crackling flame. They spoke of hope, of courage, and the gentle strength found in kindness. Outside, the rain began again, a soft, steady rhythm that wrapped the chapel in a lullaby, inviting dreams to follow. The night grew deeper, and the rain's gentle patter on the chapel roof seemed to hum in harmony with the stories that filled the air. Lucian closed the leather-bound book with care, feeling the weight of its history and the promise it carried. "Tomorrow," he said softly, "we will venture into the Whispering Woods. It is a place where many have lost their way, but it is also a place where the moonlight promise shines the brightest." Mira and Alara exchanged curious glances. "Why is it called the Whispering Woods?" Mira asked, her voice barely louder than a breeze. Lucian's gaze softened. "Because the trees there speak in gentle voices, telling stories to those who listen carefully. Some say the woods hold memories, echoes of every soul who has passed beneath their branches." The next evening, cloaked in mist and silver moonlight, the three of them stepped into the woods. The forest was alive with quiet sounds, leaves rustling, a distant owl hooting, the soft drip of rain falling from branches. As they walked, the whispers began, not loud, but like a secret shared between old friends. Lucian held Myra's hand and Alara's arm gently, guiding them with a calm assurance. "The woods remember everything," he murmured. "They remember kindness, courage, and love. They also remember sorrow, but even that can be soothed with a gentle tale." Suddenly, the path ahead glimmered faintly, like starlight caught in the moss. There, in a small clearing, stood an ancient tree with silver bark that shimmered softly in the moonlight. Lucian knelt before it and traced his fingers along the smooth trunk. This tree is called the Heart of the Woods. It holds the memories of all who have ever listened to the moonlight promise. Mira closed her eyes, feeling a warmth spreading through her chest as if the tree's gentle energy was wrapping around her like a soft blanket. Elara smiled, her voice a whisper. I feel calm. Like I'm part of something bigger. Lucian nodded. We are all connected by stories and by kindness. This is why the moonlight promise must live on. The night stretched on, and the three shared stories beneath the shimmering branches, their voices soft as the rain's lullaby. After leaving the heart of the woods, the trio wandered deeper into the forest's embrace. The rain had softened to a gentle drizzle, and the silver light of the moon filtered through the canopy, painting delicate patterns on the forest floor. Lucian carried an old lantern, its flame flickering softly but steadily. This lantern was once Aleron's, he explained. It's said to carry the light of hope, guiding travelers through the darkest nights. Mira reached out, her fingers brushing the cool metal. It's warm, somehow. Like it has a heartbeat. Elara nodded. I think it's more than just light. It's a reminder that even in darkness, something gentle can shine. They walked quietly, the lantern's glow mingling with the whispers of the woods. Shadows stretched and softened, revealing glimpses of delicate wildflowers and moss-covered stones that seemed to glow faintly in the moonlight. Suddenly, a soft sound reached their ears, a faint humming, almost like a lullaby. They followed the melody carefully until they came upon a small pond, its surface smooth and shimmering. Lucian knelt by the water's edge. This pond is called the Mirror of Dreams. It reflects not only your face but your heart's deepest hopes. Mira leaned closer, peering into the still water. Her own reflection looked back at her, framed by the glowing lantern light, but beneath the surface, faint ripples began to dance, weaving shapes of soft colors and gentle light. Elara smiled softly. It's like the pond knows our stories. Lucian's voice was tender as he spoke. The moonlight promise lives in places like this, where dreams and stories meet. Every ripple is a wish, a hope sent out into the night. They sat together by the pond, letting the peaceful sounds of the forest and the rain cradle them. The lantern's flame flickered gently, casting dancing shadows, and their hearts grew lighter with each shared breath. As sleep whispered at the edges of their minds, Lucian murmured, No matter where you are, the light of the moonlight promise will find you. Rest now, and dream well. The night deepened as the trio lingered near the Mirror of Dreams, the air cool and scented with earth and rain. The gentle murmur of the forest seemed to settle into a hush, as if the woods themselves were listening. Suddenly, from the shadows between two ancient oaks, a figure emerged, tall, cloaked in midnight blue, with eyes that gleamed softly like stars. Lucian's expression grew calm but alert. This is Celine, he whispered, the silent watcher of the woods. She guards the moonlight promise and ensures its stories remain safe. Celine's voice was as soft as a breeze. I have watched over these woods for centuries, listening to the tales carried on the wind. Your journey has honored the promise. Mira stepped forward with curiosity. What does it mean to watch silently? Celine smiled faintly. It means to protect without interference, to guard the light even when no one sees it. Sometimes the greatest strength is quiet patience. Elara, feeling bold, asked, Will you share a story with us, silent watcher? Celine nodded. There is one, about a night when the moon hid behind clouds, and the world was cloaked in darkness. A lonely traveler lost her way but found the strength to listen, to trust the whispers of the woods, and to follow the faintest glow. That glow was the moonlight promise, guiding her home. Lucian motioned for them to sit as Celine began the story. Her voice was slow and soothing, weaving gentle images of moonless skies, quiet hope, and the soft glow of unseen lights. As Celine's tale drifted through the forest, the rain softened even more, becoming a mist that wrapped the night in a silken embrace. When the story ended, the silent watcher's eyes twinkled. Remember, even in the darkest nights, you are never truly alone. With that, she faded back into the shadows, leaving behind a calm so deep it seemed to settle in their bones. Lucian looked at Mira and Elara, his smile warm and steady. The moonlight promise is alive, in every whispered story and every quiet heart. They rose, feeling the calm settle over them like a gentle cloak, and began their slow walk back toward the village, where the night awaited their peaceful dreams. As Lucian, Mira, and Elara left the whispering woods behind, the village of Eldermore lay quiet beneath a canopy of stars. The rain had nearly ceased, leaving the world fresh and scented with damp earth and blooming night flowers. Walking along the cobblestone path, the soft glow of lanterns flickered from small cottages, each window casting a warm amber light against the cool night. The gentle hum of life was faint but comforting, a reminder of the peaceful world that awaited them. Lucian paused at the edge of the village square, looking upward. "The stars tell their own stories here," he said softly. "Stories of those who came before us, watching over the village like silent guardians." Mira looked up, her breath catching at the beauty of the endless sky. "It feels like the whole world is holding its breath, just for this moment." Elara nodded, her eyes reflecting the scattered constellations. "I never thought the night could feel so alive and so calm all at once." A soft voice called from the distance. It was old Greta, the village's kind-hearted healer, stepping out onto her porch wrapped in a thick shawl. "Come, children. The night is perfect for a tale or two." They joined her by the flickering fire pit, its orange flames dancing gently. Greta's stories were known throughout Eldermore for their warmth and wisdom, and tonight was no different. She began with a tale of a vampire who chose to walk among humans not as a shadow, but as a friend. He brought peace to those who feared the dark and reminded them that kindness could thrive even in the most unlikely places, Greta said, her voice soothing as the fire's glow. Lucian smiled, feeling the threads of the moonlight promise weaving through the night. As the story unfolded, the village seemed to lean in closer, wrapped in the gentle embrace of shared tales and quiet friendship. Outside, the stars continued their slow dance, and the world grew softer, preparing to rest beneath the silent watch of the night. After the warmth of the village fire, Lucian led Mira and Elara toward a hidden path behind Greta's cottage. The path was veiled by climbing ivy and moonflowers that glowed faintly in the darkness. "This is the Midnight Garden," Lucian said softly, "a place where night blossoms bloom only under the moon's gentle light." The three stepped carefully onto a narrow trail, the air thick with the sweet scent of jasmine and honeysuckle. Soft petals brushed their fingertips as they passed, and the garden seemed alive with quiet magic. "Why does it only bloom at night?" Mira asked, her voice hushed with wonder. Lucian smiled gently. "Because the night has its own beauty, often unnoticed. The Midnight Garden reminds us to find light and life even in the darkest hours." Elara reached down to touch a cluster of silver-blue flowers that shimmered like stars. "It feels like the flowers are breathing." Lucian nodded. "They are, in a way. The garden grows slowly and patiently, teaching us to be gentle with ourselves." As they wandered deeper, soft twinkling lights appeared, tiny fireflies floating like living lanterns. The garden was a world apart, a peaceful sanctuary where time seemed to slow. Lucian pulled from his cloak a small, ancient music box, its delicate tune flowing like a lullaby. "This melody has been played here for centuries, a song to calm restless hearts." He wound the box carefully, and the soft music mingled with the whispers of the flowers and the rustle of leaves. Mira and Elara closed their eyes, letting the music wash over them like a warm embrace. The night felt infinite and kind. Lucian's voice softened. "When you find darkness too heavy, remember the Midnight Garden, where night flowers bloom, and hope glows softly like fireflies." They stayed until the melody ended, their spirits lighter, ready to drift gently into peaceful sleep under the watchful stars. Leaving the Midnight Garden behind, the trio followed a winding trail deeper into the forest, where ancient trees towered high, their branches interlacing like woven silk above. Lucian stopped beneath a massive oak tree, its bark thick and rough, glowing faintly silver in the moonlight. "This is the Whispering Oak," he said softly. "It is said to hold the voices of all who have walked these woods, their hopes, fears, and dreams." Mira leaned close, placing a hand on the trunk. The bark felt warm, pulsing gently beneath her fingertips as if the tree itself breathed. "Elara, listen," Lucian whispered. Emerging from the fog was a figure cloaked in silver gray, carrying a lantern that shimmered with ethereal light. The figure moved gracefully, footsteps silent on the soft forest floor. "This is Aiden," Lucian said softly. "He's the lantern bearer, guiding lost souls through the night with his gentle light." Aiden's eyes met theirs with warmth. "The night can be long and uncertain, but a small light can always lead the way home." A soft murmur began, like a choir of distant voices carried on the wind. The whispers told stories of love lost and found, of courage and kindness, and of the gentle light that never fades. Myra's eyes widened with wonder. "It's like the tree is alive with memories." Elara smiled quietly. "And it reminds us that we are part of something bigger, a story that stretches beyond time." Lucian's voice was calm and steady. "The Whispering Oak teaches patience and understanding. Sometimes, all we need is to listen." They sat beneath its sprawling branches, letting the murmurs wash over them like a soothing balm. The rain had stopped, and the forest hummed with life, serene and gentle. As sleep began to tug at their eyelids, Lucian murmured, "May the whispers guide your dreams and keep your hearts light." As they rose from beneath the Whispering Oak, a soft glow appeared ahead, a flickering light bobbing gently through the mist. Lucian motioned for Mira and Elara to follow quietly. Emerging from the fog was a figure cloaked in silver gray, carrying a lantern that shimmered with ethereal light. The figure moved gracefully, footsteps silent on the soft forest floor. "This is Aiden," Lucian said softly. "He's the lantern bearer, guiding lost souls through the night with his gentle light." Aiden's eyes met theirs with warmth. "The night can be long and uncertain, but a small light can always lead the way home." Mira felt the calm radiating from Aiden as he lifted his lantern, its glow casting soft shadows on the trees. "How do you find the lost ones?" she asked. "By listening to their hearts," Aiden replied. "And by never giving up hope." He motioned for them to walk alongside him as the lantern's glow danced ahead, revealing a path lined with glowing mushrooms and soft moss. The light was steady but never blinding, a beacon that invited rest rather than hurry. "Sometimes," Aiden said, "we all need someone to carry the light when our own grows dim. Remember, it's okay to lean on others." As the three walked quietly, the forest around them seemed to breathe with gentle life, the night unfolding like a soft, endless lullaby. The path from the lantern-bearer led them to an ancient stone bridge arching over a quietly flowing river that shimmered silver under the moon's gaze. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of wild lavender and pine. Lucian stepped onto the bridge first, his footsteps echoing softly against the stones. "This is the moonlit bridge," he said quietly. "It connects the world of shadows with the realm of dreams." Mira gazed down at the water beneath, where small glowing fish flickered like underwater stars. "It feels like crossing into another world." Elara traced the edge of the stone with her fingers, the texture worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. "What happens if you fall?" Lucian smiled gently. "You don't fall, you float. The river carries you gently until you find solid ground again." As they crossed, the night air seemed to wrap them in a soothing embrace, the soft ripple of water a lullaby beneath the steady glow of the moon. At the bridge's end, they paused, the silence filled with promise. Lucian said softly, "Every step forward is a step toward peace, even when the path feels uncertain." They lingered there for a while, the river's song weaving into their hearts like a quiet, steady rhythm. Beyond the moonlit bridge, the trees opened to reveal a wide clearing bathed in soft starlight. The grass shimmered like silver velvet, and fireflies floated lazily, painting the night with gentle sparks. Lucian spread a dark cloak on the ground. This is the starlit clearing, a place for rest and reflection. Mira sat down, leaning back to watch the stars blink slowly overhead. It's so peaceful. Like the whole universe is watching over us. Elara curled up beside her, a contented sigh escaping. I never wanted this night to end. Lucian smiled warmly. Sometimes, the quietest places hold the greatest power. Here, you can let go of all worries and just be. As the trio settled in, the soft hum of the night surrounded them, a symphony of crickets, rustling leaves, and distant owl calls. Lucian began to hum a gentle tune, the melody weaving through the stillness, a lullaby meant for the heart. The stars above seemed to pulse in time with the music, wrapping them in a blanket of calm. Myra's eyes grew heavy. Thank you for bringing me here. Lucian's voice was a soft whisper. Rest now. The night will keep you safe. And beneath the endless sky, the world softened into a peaceful hush, the perfect lullaby for a gentle vampire's promise. As dawn's first light began to hint beyond the horizon, Lucian led Mira and Elara toward a hidden grove. There, nestled between towering ancient trees, stood the silent library. An ancient stone building covered in ivy, its windows faintly glowing with a soft golden light. This place, Lucian said softly, holds the wisdom of centuries, written in books and whispered by the trees themselves. Myra's eyes sparkled with curiosity. But why is it called the Silent Library? Lucian smiled. Because it teaches us to listen without words. The silence here is alive. It lets you hear your own heart clearly. They stepped inside, and the air was cool, filled with the faint scent of parchment and lavender. Shelves stretched high, filled with old books whose pages seemed to shimmer faintly in the soft glow. No one spoke, instead, gentle whispers seemed to drift through the air, like a comforting breeze. Elara reached for a book bound in deep blue leather. As she opened it, words appeared on the pages not written, but glowing softly, telling stories of kindness, patience, and courage. Lucian motioned to a low cushioned nook by the window. Sit here. Let the silence and the stories wash over you. Mira curled up with a thick volume, feeling the calm seep into her bones. The quiet was a balm, soothing the restless parts of her mind. Minutes passed like gentle waves until Elara whispered, I feel like the library is speaking directly to me. That's the magic, Lucian said. Sometimes, silence can be louder than words, helping us understand ourselves better. As they sat wrapped in quiet comfort, the library seemed to breathe with them, holding their worries gently until they could rest. Leaving the silent library, the trio wandered until they reached a serene lake, its surface as smooth as glass, reflecting the moon and stars like a mirror. Lucian knelt by the shore, dipping his fingers into the cool water. This is the Silver Lake, where the past and present meet. Mira knelt beside him, watching the ripples spread like soft whispers. Why is it called the Silver Lake? Because it reflects not just what's above, but also what's within. It shows your deepest feelings and hidden dreams, Lucian explained. Elara took a deep breath, gazing into the still water. Can it show what I hope for? Lucian nodded. Close your eyes and think of your wish. Elara closed her eyes, and when she opened them, the water shimmered, revealing faint images, a field of blooming flowers, laughter with friends, peaceful nights. Mira smiled softly. It's like the lake understands us. Lucian stood, brushing water from his hands. The lake reminds us to look inside, to find light even when the world feels dark. They spent a long time at the shore, sharing hopes and quiet reflections as the night wrapped around them like a gentle cloak. Further into the forest, Lucian brought them to a circle of tall trees hung with countless dream catchers, each woven with care, their feathers catching the moonlight. This is the Dreamcatcher's Grove, Lucian said softly. Here, dreams are protected and fears kept at bay. Mira reached out to touch a large dreamcatcher, its delicate web shimmering. How do they work? They catch the bad dreams and let only the peaceful ones through, Lucian replied. Each one is made from hope and kindness. Elara looked around in awe. It's like the whole forest is watching over us. Lucian nodded. We all need a place like this, where our hearts can rest, safe and sound. The grove was filled with a quiet energy, a promise of comfort and safety. They sat beneath the hanging charms, feeling the gentle hum of protection. Lucian whispered, when sleep is hard to find, remember this grove. Let it hold you in its calm. As the first light of dawn began to break through the trees, Lucian guided Mira and Elara back toward the village's edge. The sky was painted with soft shades of pink and gold, promising a new day. Lucian's voice was tender. Night is a time of rest and reflection, but dawn brings hope and new beginnings. Mira took a deep breath of the fresh morning air, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. It's beautiful, like a promise. Elara smiled sleepily. I never thought the night could be so gentle. Lucian looked at them both with quiet pride. The night and the day are part of the same story, a balance of rest and action, darkness and light. They stood quietly, watching as birds began their morning songs, the forest waking slowly around them. Lucian added softly, carry the peace of the night with you, and step into each day with an open heart. With that, the gentle vampire's promise lingered in the air, a soft assurance that no matter the shadows, there is always light waiting to return. As the first hints of dawn crept across the horizon, painting the sky with pale pinks and gentle golds, Lucian led Mira and Elara to the edge of the ancient forest where the village awaited their return. The air was cool and fresh, filled with the scent of dew-kissed wildflowers and moist earth. Birds began their morning chorus, a soft melody that mingled with the whispering breeze through the leaves. Lucian's voice was quiet, almost a murmur carried by the morning light. Night offers rest and reflection, but dawn carries a promise of renewal, of hope that each day holds new possibilities. Mira breathed in deeply, feeling the warmth of the sun's first rays caress her face. It feels like the world is waking up with a gentle hug, she said, her voice soft. Elara smiled sleepily, her eyes heavy with the comfort of the night's journey. I never imagined the night could be so tender, so full of quiet magic. Lucian turned to them, his expression thoughtful and serene. The night and the day are intertwined, one gives way to the other like two lovers dancing through time. Darkness teaches us stillness and rest, daylight calls us to life and action. Both are necessary, both are beautiful. They stood together in silence for a while, watching the golden light slowly strengthen, chasing away the last lingering shadows. The village below began to stir, smoke curled lazily from chimneys, the soft clatter of early footsteps reached their ears, and the faint scent of freshly baked bread floated up. Lucian's gaze held theirs gently. Remember this feeling, carry the peace of the night in your heart, and face each day with courage and openness. Myra's eyes glistened with quiet tears. Thank you for bringing me here. For showing me the night's gentle promise. Lucian smiled, a flicker of warmth in his ancient eyes. Rest well, dear Mira. The night will always be waiting, and so will I. As the sun rose higher, the three turned toward home, the dawn's soft promise lingering around them like a gentle melody, an assurance that no matter the darkness, light will always follow. The journey continued the next evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, bathing the land in twilight hues of lavender and rose. Lucian guided Mira and Elara deeper into the forest, where ancient willow trees stood in quiet clusters, their long branches brushing softly against the ground and the nearby stream. These are the whispering willows, Lucian explained, his voice barely above the rustling leaves. They have watched over these woods for centuries, carrying the stories of those who've walked beneath their boughs. Mira reached out to touch the smooth bark of a willow. Why are they called whispering? Because when the wind moves through their branches, they carry secrets and tales, not of the past, but of hope and courage for those who listen, Lucian said. Their whispers are meant to soothe restless hearts. As the trio sat beneath the drooping branches, the willows seemed to lean closer, their leaves brushing lightly against their faces like gentle hands. The soft murmuring of the leaves sounded like distant lullabies, calming every worry and doubt. Elara closed her eyes and listened deeply. "I think they're telling me everything will be all right." Lucian nodded slowly. "They remind us to trust the journey, even when the path is unclear. The wind that moves them is the same wind that carries change, but also comfort." Mira exhaled, feeling the tension in her shoulders ease. "It's like the forest is breathing with us." They stayed there for a long while, wrapped in the willow's embrace, until the stars began to sprinkle the night sky. The whispers of the trees continued, a gentle chorus of peace and promise, guiding them forward on their path. As they walked on, a gentle mist began to rise from the ground, swirling around their feet and curling through the trees. The forest took on a dreamlike quality, softened and veiled in silver haze. "This is the veil of mist," Lucian said quietly. "It's where the boundary between the seen and unseen grows thin, a place where dreams drift and mingle with reality." Myra's footsteps slowed as she gazed through the fog, her eyes adjusting to the dim, shimmering world. "It feels like walking through a secret dream." Elara reached out her hand, fingertips brushing through the damp mist. "Do you think the mist hides things? Or reveals them?" Lucian smiled. "Both. The mist encourages us to look beyond the obvious, to trust our intuition and the quiet guidance of our hearts." As they moved slowly through the veil, the sounds of the forest softened. The usual rustle of animals and snapping twigs faded into distant echoes, replaced by a profound stillness. Myra's voice was barely a whisper. "It's peaceful here, but also mysterious." Lucian nodded. "The mist reminds us that not all answers come clearly. Sometimes, we must be patient, allowing the unknown to unfold gently." Through the veil, faint shapes flickered. Shadows of leaves, glimpses of ancient stones, faint glowing orbs that drifted like fireflies. The atmosphere was thick with magic and possibility. As they stepped out from the mist into clearer woods, the lingering calm remained, a soft reminder that even in uncertainty, there is quiet strength and beauty. Their journey brought them next to a small hollow where a warm hearthfire burned steadily beneath a canopy of towering oaks. The firelight flickered against the gnarled roots and mossy stones, casting dancing shadows that seemed to invite them closer. Lucian motioned toward the fire. "This is the Hearthfire Hollow, a place of warmth and renewal. Even in the darkest nights, a flame of hope can burn bright." Mira settled near the fire, letting the gentle heat seep into her chilled fingers. "It feels like the heart of the forest." Elara smiled, watching the flames flicker. "I think it reminds us that warmth isn't just from fire, it's from love and connection." Lucian nodded thoughtfully. "The fire here has been tended by generations. It symbolizes endurance and care, a light that never fades." As they sat around the fire, Lucian shared stories of old, tales of courage, forgiveness, and gentle kindness that had been passed down like precious embers. The fire's glow wrapped around them, a comforting embrace against the cool night air. Mira felt her worries dissolve, replaced by a steady warmth that blossomed in her chest. "Elara," Lucian said softly, "remember that no matter how dark the night, a spark can always rekindle your spirit." The flames danced higher, echoing his words, as the night deepened into a calm, protective hush. As the night deepened, Lucian led them to a secluded glen bathed in moonlight, where delicate silver-winged moths fluttered silently among the wildflowers. "This is the Silverwing Sanctuary," Lucian whispered. "A haven for gentle souls and soft spirits." Mira watched as the moths moved like living stardust, their wings catching the moon's glow in shimmering patterns. "They're so peaceful." Elara reached out a hand, careful not to disturb the delicate creatures. "Why moths?" "Because moths are drawn to light, even in the darkest places," Lucian said. "They remind us to seek hope and grace, no matter how deep the night." The sanctuary was filled with a stillness that felt sacred, a space where silence spoke louder than words. Mira leaned back against a smooth stone, breathing slowly. I think this place is teaching me to be gentle with myself. Lucian smiled. That is the greatest lesson of all, to hold yourself with kindness and patience, like the moths hold the light. They stayed a while in the sanctuary, letting the quiet beauty seep into their hearts, a balm for tired souls. Beneath a ridge of rolling hills, Lucian guided Mira and Elara to a narrow entrance veiled by ivy. They stepped carefully inside, the air growing cooler and thick with ancient echoes. These are the echoing caverns, Lucian said softly. Here, voices from the past mingle with the present, reminding us we are never truly alone. Myra's footsteps echoed softly on the stone floor as she explored the shadows. It feels like the cave itself is alive. Elara ran her fingers along the smooth walls. I hear whispers, stories carried by the stones. Lucian nodded. The caverns teach us to listen deeply, to the world around us, and to the quiet voice within. Faint glowing crystals lit the walls with a soft, otherworldly light, casting shimmering patterns that danced like spirits. Mira closed her eyes, letting the gentle echoes wash over her. It's like the past is telling me to be brave. Lucian smiled gently. It is. And your courage will light the way forward. They lingered in the caverns, surrounded by stories and silence, until the gentle pulse of the night called them onward. Emerging from the caverns, the trio found themselves in a vast meadow blanketed with delicate star-shaped flowers glowing softly under the moonlight. This is the Starflower Meadow, Lucian said, his voice full of reverence. Each flower holds a wish, a hope sent out into the night sky. Mira knelt to touch the petals, feeling their cool softness. They seemed to sparkle with quiet dreams. Elara gathered a handful gently. Can we make a wish? Lucian nodded. Close your eyes. Let your heart speak quietly. They each whispered a wish into the night, their voices lost in the gentle breeze. The flowers shimmered brighter, as if welcoming their hopes. Sometimes, Lucian said, the smallest dreams can grow into the brightest lights. Mira smiled, her spirit lighter than before. I'll carry this meadow in my heart always. The starflowers swayed gently, cradling their wishes beneath the endless sky. A short walk brought them to a shimmering pool surrounded by quartz crystals that caught the moonlight, scattering it like scattered stars across the water's surface. This is the crystal pool, Lucian said softly. A place of clarity and reflection. Mira peered into the still water and saw her own face staring back, calm and steady. Elara threw a small pebble in, sending ripples across the glassy surface. It reminds me to be clear with myself. Lucian nodded. Reflection is a gift, a chance to understand who we are beneath the noise of the world. They sat quietly by the pool, letting the cool night air and sparkling crystals wash away their doubts. Mira whispered, I feel like I'm beginning to know myself. Lucian smiled. And that is the first step toward peace. Under the silver light of the full moon, a wooden bridge arched over a gentle stream, glowing softly like a thread woven through the night. Lucian stopped at the bridge. This is the moonlit bridge, a crossing between what was and what will be. Mira looked across the shimmering water, her heart steadying. It feels like a place of choices. Elara took a deep breath. A bridge between fears and hopes. Lucian stepped forward first, then gestured for them to follow. Cross with courage, knowing the past has shaped you, but does not define you. Hand in hand, they crossed the bridge, feeling the water's cool breath below and the moon's quiet blessing above. On the other side, the forest opened into a clear space filled with the promise of new beginnings. Beyond the bridge lay a hidden garden, filled with blooming flowers that seemed to hum softly in the night breeze. This is the Garden of Echoes, Lucian said. A place where our thoughts and feelings return to us gently, like a mirror of the soul. Mira touched a rose that glowed faintly. It's like the garden knows what I'm feeling. Elara smiled. Maybe it's echoing kindness back to us. Lucian nodded. In this garden, every emotion is honored. It teaches us to embrace ourselves fully, without judgment. They wandered slowly, letting the garden's gentle echoes wash over them, filling their hearts with acceptance and peace. The clearing was serene, bathed in the tender glow of dawn's early light filtering through tall pines. Lucian stood between Mira and Elara, his presence calm and unwavering, a figure who carried centuries of wisdom with quiet grace. "Before you go, there is one last lesson," Lucian said softly. "The journey isn't about escaping darkness but embracing it, and in doing so, finding the light that shines within you." Mira looked up, eyes wide and searching. "But how do you hold on to that light when the shadows feel so heavy?" Lucian's gaze was gentle but firm. "By trusting in your own strength. Shadows may stretch long, but they can never snuff out a true light. Remember, darkness teaches patience, resilience, and compassion." Elara's voice was barely above a whisper. "It's like the night and the day live inside all of us." "Exactly," Lucian smiled. "You are the balance, the promise that night holds no power without the dawn." A soft breeze stirred the leaves, carrying with it the scent of wild jasmine. The warmth of the rising sun kissed their skin, and Mira felt the weight of her fears lessen, replaced by a quiet hope that shimmered like morning dew. Lucian stepped back, his voice fading like a lullaby. "Go now, with courage and kindness in your heart. And whenever the night feels too long, remember this place, and know you are never truly alone." Mira and Elara exchanged a glance filled with unspoken understanding, their spirits forever changed by the gentle vampire's promise. The morning after their final embrace with Lucian, Mira and Elara found themselves drawn back into the forest's heart, this time alone. The woods were quieter than ever, a stillness that felt almost sacred. Myra's footsteps were soft on the moss-covered ground. "It's as if the forest itself is holding its breath." Elara nodded. "Maybe it's waiting for something." The trees stood tall and proud, their leaves whispering faint secrets on the breeze. As they walked deeper, the light dimmed, filtered through dense canopies and draping vines. "Sometimes silence speaks the loudest," Mira said thoughtfully. "It makes space for things we might miss otherwise." Elara smiled, eyes closed, letting the quiet wash over her. "I hear it too, the forest's heart beating." Suddenly, a rustle broke the silence. A small fawn emerged, its wide eyes meeting theirs with gentle curiosity. Mira crouched slowly, heart pounding, afraid to break the fragile peace. Lucian's lessons echoed in her mind: trust, patience, kindness. The fawn stepped closer, and Mira reached out a trembling hand. Its soft nose brushed her fingers, and a wave of calm swept through her. Even in silence, Elara whispered, "There's life, connection, and hope." The woods seemed to pulse with quiet energy, a reminder that sometimes the most profound moments happen without words. That evening, Mira and Elara sat by a tranquil lake reflecting the full moon's silver glow like a mirror. The water was so still it seemed like liquid glass, holding the sky in its embrace. Lucian's voice drifted softly through memory. "Look to the moon, Mira. She is a guardian of the night's secrets, a beacon for those who wander in darkness." Mira dipped her fingers into the cool water, sending ripples that shimmered like stars. "The moon feels close tonight, like she's watching over us." Elara smiled, her gaze fixed on the glowing orb above. "She reminds me that even when hidden, there is always light." Myra's eyes reflected the moonlight, her thoughts turning inward. "I think the moon teaches us to be patient, to wait for our own light to shine." Elara nodded. "And to trust the cycles, the ebb and flow of life." They sat in companionable silence, letting the calm of the night seep into their bones, the moon's reflection a gentle reminder that beauty and strength often dwell in quiet places. As the forest darkened, a single nightingale began its song, a melody so pure and haunting it filled the air with soft magic. Mira paused, captivated. "It's like the bird is singing just for us." Elara's voice was hushed. "A song of hope and courage." Lucian's words came back to Mira, "The night holds gentle lessons, often hidden in the smallest things." The nightingale's tune wove through the trees, a lullaby for the weary and a call to the brave. Mira felt the melody wrap around her heart, lifting the shadows of doubt. The nightingale sings to remind us that even in darkness, beauty lives. Ilara smiled. And that our voices matter, even the quietest ones. The song continued, a soft symphony under the stars, guiding their spirits with gentle grace and endless hope. Walking along a winding path, Mira spotted a flickering lantern hanging from an old wooden post, its golden light casting warm shadows. Lucian's memory returned. The lantern is a symbol, a small but steadfast light guiding travelers through uncertain times. Mira reached out to touch the lantern's glass, feeling its warmth. It feels like a promise, that even a little light can lead the way. Ilara smiled. It reminds me not to be afraid of the dark, but to be the light. The path ahead, once shadowed, now seemed inviting, as if the lantern's glow reached into their hearts, igniting courage. Together, they walked forward, carrying the lantern's quiet strength with them into the unknown. As they ventured further, the gentle sound of laughter drifted through the trees, soft, carefree, and full of life. Myra's face brightened. It's a sound of joy, of freedom. Ilara twirled, letting the laughter fill her lungs. Even the darkest nights can hold moments of lightness. Lucian's wisdom echoed, laughter is a gift, a balm for weary souls. They found a clearing where fireflies danced in the air, their lights twinkling like tiny stars. Mira laughed softly, her heart lighter. We carry the night's promise, but also its joy. Ilara nodded. And that makes us stronger. The echo of their laughter mingled with the night song, a beautiful harmony of hope and healing. Under an endless sky sprinkled with countless stars, Mira and Ilara lay on soft moss, gazing upward. Lucian's words came to Mira like a gentle breeze, each star is a story, a light born from darkness. Mira whispered, the stars remind me that even when we feel small, we are part of something vast and beautiful. Ilara's eyes sparkled. And that our light, no matter how faint, contributes to the whole. They shared stories beneath the cosmos, their voices soft and steady, wrapped in the infinite calm of the universe. The stars twinkled above, a quiet symphony of ancient light and endless possibility. As dawn approached, the forest was sprinkled with dewdrops, each one catching the first light like a tiny prism. Mira bent to gently cup a dewdrop on a leaf. It's like the forest is blessing us. Ilara smiled, watching the drops shimmer. A reminder that even the smallest things hold beauty and grace. Lucian's voice echoed softly, life's blessings often come in quiet moments. The dewdrop sparkled and faded, a gentle promise of new beginnings and soft awakenings. Mira and Ilara felt renewed, their spirits shining softly in the early light. Walking through a quiet grove, Mira felt a sudden stillness inside, a moment to listen deeply. Lucian's words came back, the heart's compass guides us, even when the path is unclear. Mira closed her eyes, breathing in the cool air. I think I'm beginning to trust it. Ilara squeezed her hand. Me too. It's a light inside us that never fades. Together, they moved forward with quiet confidence, their hearts aligned with the gentle rhythm of the night's promise. One night, as the sky shimmered with a rare starfall, Mira and Ilara watched in awe. Lucian's lesson lingered, even in darkness, stars can fall, but their light lingers in the night. Mira whispered a wish on a falling star, her heart full of hope. Ilara smiled. We carry that light now, inside us. The starfall painted the sky with silver trails, a final blessing on their journey of gentle courage and endless kindness. As the first light of dawn painted the world in soft golds and pinks, Mira and Ilara stood at the forest's edge. They turned back for a moment, feeling Lucian's presence in the breeze. Thank you, Mira whispered. For everything. The morning sun rose fully, casting long, warm rays that embraced them. And as they stepped into the new day, they carried the gentle vampire's promise, not just in memory, but in every breath, every step, every act of light they would bring into the world.